When it comes to wealth, it's important to consider both our inputs and our outputs, our income and our spending. And it's much easier to control what we spend than the salary we make. While we will cover ways to maximize our income in the future, today we're going to cover how to minimize our spending and the 4 habits that keep Americans quietly broke. My goal isn't to make you feel bad or shame you about how you spend your money, but it's to identify areas of improvement that we could all work on in our financial lives. And I always have to caveat that I'm a little more disciplined, probably to an extreme, and I don't expect you to restrict your spending to my point, to my degree. But for now, we're going to set aside income and focus solely on spending and expose the 4 habits that keep Americans away from their financial independence. I've branded them starting with C's. After a quick Google search, something called alliteration, and that helps us memorize it. Our first will be creep, second will be convenience, third will be commitment, and fourth will be consumerism. Starting off with creep, or lifestyle creep, I mentioned in the previous video that when we're younger, we have a much higher tolerance for a low quality of life, low standard of living. Use this to your advantage and keep it there as long as possible. If you rent, you probably don't need all those amenities that you won't have the time to use. If you buy a house, you probably don't need to fix that dated bathroom right away with a HELOC to upgrade some porcelain. Keep it as is. If you're buying a car, get something economical. Not only is it cheaper up front, it's cheaper on taxes, it's cheaper on registration, cheaper on repairs, just overall cheaper to maintain. And this is that negative compounding we want to avoid. That lifestyle creep isn't just that initial sticker shock, it's all those expensive associated costs downstream. And this isn't just for large purchases. It happens at every level of spend. So that name brand jacket is probably made in the same factory as the off-brand. And that store brand cereal has almost all the same ingredients as the name brand cereal right next to it. Now, I would probably make a video in itself on grocery shopping and spending wisely, and I'm not an extreme couponer whatsoever. However, if you're craving beef tonight and the store only has chicken on sale this week, you're eating chicken. So, to wrap this one up, once you have a standard that works, lock it in. No matter what raises you get or bonuses you earn, stay at your current standard of living. You've already proven it's possible, so why change it now? Plus, even the gamification of that can be addicting in itself. We're going to move on to convenience. Convenience should be an exception and not a rule. You may tell yourself that you're saving time, but you should seriously consider what else you're going to do with that time anyway. Take pizza, for example. We're going to try to use our first visual somewhere on one of these sides. App delivered is $40. Picking it up, $20. Making it yourself, $5 or less. The less you opt in for convenience, the more you save. And the more control you have over the situation, which is a real benefit for me. Pizza won't be late, it won't be cold, it won't be lopsided. Control over convenience is a mindset that I've learned to thrive in. Coffee is another big one. And yeah, I understand it's a meme, but it carries a real weight. Making your own coffee is 50 cents a day. Buying it at the store or at a cafe is about $5 a day. Right? Over the course of a year, that's about $1,650. Just 1 year, investing this in your 20s can be $50,000 to $100,000 if invested right. 2 years could be $100,000 to $200,000. Double it every 7 years, and you have some real compounding. And that's just a rule of thumb. We can get really into specific on how we project our compound interest. But over the course of a lifetime, you'll retire much more comfortably with at least $500,000, potentially well over $1 million. And when you look at Americans retiring, they're retiring with a median of $200,000 in savings or a mean of $600,000 in savings. Just that one little coffee hack will net you more in retirement than most Americans have net in retirement, which is unbelievable to think about. So the takeaway here, that was off script, is delay your purchases, buy in bulk, rarely buy anything because you need it now, and avoid outsourcing your services. We have so many tools, we have so many appliances that make life easier for us at a fraction of the cost. And ultimately, you have much more control over the end result. You can only be mad at yourself for bad results. Third, we're going to look at commitments or reoccurring expenses. These are things like insurance, rent, mortgage, phone bills, subscriptions. There's a real subscription blindness that commonly happens today. It's easy to start free trials and forget about them, use something once and never again, and just get numb to those renewal emails. I advise you to take control of this. Make a clear list and weigh what is truly necessary. In today's age, I think it's crazy to subscribe to multiple big media companies. They love to increase prices, and somehow they still find a way to show advertisements. Audit your subscriptions regularly, monthly or quarterly at most. We'll have another visual up here as well. If you get charged past the free trial, always dispute it. 9 out of 10 times, you'll get your money back. Challenge yourself. Can you live without your entertainment apps, meal subscriptions for a month, maybe 2? Humans did just fine before we were here, and I know you will find a way to normalize. We're extremely elastic. For these subscriptions that you cannot live without, such as internet, have you looked around at competition around in your area? Moving around can really save you money. Being comfortable with the same subscription for a long period of time is a great way for them to take advantage of you. And on the same theme, if you cannot live without a music app, try to switch up your emails. Take advantage of first-time promotions, free trials as much as you can. You'll save some real money in the long run. Lastly, we're going to look at consumerism. This is that I deserve it or I need to have it spending. From splurging to retail therapy, stress spending, or just buying it because. If you find yourself approaching a non-essential purchase that you really have to justify to yourself or your loved ones, it's probably a bad purchase. Did you have a long week at work? And does buying new jeans help? We'll find a better way. Go on a walk, discover a new artist online, or even window shop if you fiend that sweet, sweet smell of retail. You got a bonus check and feel like treating yourself? Buy nail polish instead of going to the salon. Or better yet, enjoy what you already have. Raises and bonuses don't need to be celebrated by spending more money. And bad weeks don't need to be fixed by empty spending. A good approach to what we just covered is to try to delay gratification. I think long-term fulfillment is always more important than that instant gratification. So instead of buying it immediately, wait a few days or even a week. More times than not, that impulse will fade and you'll realize you didn't really need whatever it was that you thought you did. If after that waiting period you still want it, you can make an intentional purchase that fits within your strategy. This gives you control. It reduces regret and it turns spending into a conscious choice rather than that lizard brain impulse. So to walk away from this video, I want us all to focus on min spending or minimizing our spending. I've mentioned it before, budgets are good if they help you, but sometimes they give you a target of what you want to spend up to. When you're young, min spend. Don't cheap out though. Pay for yourself. Don't shift that burden to anyone else, but really detract from that consumer obsessed mindset. The path to financial freedom doesn't just lead to real wealth, it leads to a detachment from the things that take you away from it. Once you identify and conquer these habits, you'll be on your way to saving real money. And that money could be sown and grown in so many ways for your family's future. But if you did find this helpful, please comment or subscribe. I do tend to drop off with these kinds of projects. I have plenty of discipline when it comes to financial topics. When it comes to these side projects, I do tend to taper. So seeing that kind of feedback really does help me keep going. I think it's extremely important that us Americans work together to secure a financial future for independence in our retirement age. Now, to add a little bit more, I work in the retirement industry. This is near and dear to me. I will start showing that value, showing you kind of the ins and outs of what I learn on a working basis as well. Thank you so much for sticking this long and have an awesome day. Take care.